All right, in these examples, we're going to use tangent ratio again. The one difference is we're going to actually use it to solve for the missing sides of the right triangles. So keep in mind, the tangent ratio is opposite over adjacent. So you would need to use an angle, an opposite side, and an adjacent side. So that's three things. You need to know the measure of two of the three, and you will be able to solve the third one. So in this case, I've got an angle and then the two legs. So it's a great situation where I can use tangent. Again, this is my angle here, so I set up tangent of the angle, tangent of 54 degrees, and it's equal to opposite, which is x, over adjacent, which is 32. Great. I got it set up. There's one variable in there. Everything else I know, so I can solve. To solve an equation, I want to get x by itself, and I want to first get rid of this fraction, so I multiply by 32 on both sides. When I do that, this cancels, and all I really need to plug into my calculator is 32 times tangent of 54, because I now have x by itself. When I type all that in, I get x is equal to 44.0 when rounded to the nearest tenth. Great. Second example, again, I have an angle that I know and then two sides. One of them's unknown and one of them's known. In this case, my angle is 25. So again, I want to set up tangent of 25 degrees. And that's going to be equal to, again, the opposite, which is x, over the adjacent, which is 20. Great. Another situation where there's one unknown, so I can solve by first getting rid of the fraction. In this case, I multiply by 20 on both sides. Cancels over there, just like it did here. And now all I have is 20 times tangent of 25 equals x. X is by itself, so great. That I can type into my calculator. I'll show you this one real quick. So when I type it in, I'm just going to type literally 20 times tangent of 25. And I close parentheses. I hit enter. And one thing, if you get worried, think it might be in the wrong mode, you can click the button here, mode. Double check to make sure you are not in radians mode, but you're in degrees, because we're measuring angles in degrees. And you get your answer. Rounded to the nearest tenth is 9.3. Great. Third example. Again, I have an angle and I have two sides. The one side is not given though, but the other is. So again, I want to set up tangent of the angle, tangent of 38 degrees, equals the opposite side. In this case, opposite is 10 over the adjacent side, where adjacent is x. There's one big difference here. You might notice x is on the top, x is on the top, but here x is on the bottom. That's okay. You want to solve it the same way. So I multiplied the denominator to cancel out. I want to do that again. Multiply by x on both sides. Cancels out there. And I'm left with x times tangent of 38 degrees equals 10. I can't type that in my calculator because x is not by itself. So I want to divide by tangent 38 degrees on both sides. The one difference in typing this into your calculator is now, because that cancels, I want to type it out with some division. So I'm going to type in 10 divided by tangent 38. Just like that, and you get your answer. Rounded to the nearest tenth is 12.8. And there you go. Check out this magic. Our last problem was an application problem. Boom, there it is. Look at that beautiful artwork I put on there. To solve this, we've got a picture, and I know it's gorgeous, it looks great, but it might be easier to put it into just a right triangle. So in this case, my right triangle is that here. So I'm going to set it up with the 4 being on the bottom still, the height going vertically, and that diagonal is the hypotenuse. This was 75 degrees. It's like the angle of elevation going up to the top of that tree. The height of the tree I wanted to figure out, and I know it's pretty easy to measure 4 feet along the ground. I know this is 4 feet. It's obviously really hard to measure the height of a tree, but measuring 4 feet on the ground is pretty simple. Now you can use tangent again. I'm going to set up tangent of 75 degrees, and it's going to be equal to my opposite over adjacent. So x over 4. Great. Just like we did the previous 3, multiply by the denominator to cancel out. Do that on both sides and type in 4 times tangent of 75 degrees into your calculator, and you get approximately 15 feet. And that's how you use tangent.